Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is week 7 of my doing 100 weeks of YouTube videos and focusing on a healthy, happy life. Having a healthy, happy life, living a healthy, happy life. Something to that effect. I think living a healthy, happy life is what I'm trying to do. Trying to live a healthy, happy life. I'm trying to be happier. Not sure how happy I'm being, although I do get excited about little things and little progress that I seem to be making. And I am trying to make healthier choices. Still not where I want to be, not meeting all of the goals that I want to be meeting, but still trying, still making an effort, still making, which I think means I'm making progress. So that makes me happy. Anyway, life is a process. It's progress. It's not perfection. Progress, not perfection is one of my favorite sayings from my 12-step program. Loving that. Anyway, so I have my little 6 areas to talk about. And the first one is social. Of course it is. It's social. Socially, I've been a little hermit. I like being a little hermit. I do that a little too much. Been staying at home probably too much. I even had a car because Dad Shoemaker let me borrow his car, and I haven't been going anywhere or doing anything unless I absolutely had to. So had some freak out moments. Seriously, let me borrow the car, and I was so happy because it meant I didn't have to worry about how I was going to get to and from doctor's appointments. I could go see the chiropractor 3 times a week instead of once this week. And so I got to drive the car on Monday, which I needed on Monday to go to a doctor's appointment anyway. So very happy to have a car, and was thinking I was just going to get it for the day to run some errands. And then I went to pick it up, and Dad Shoemaker's like, hey, you can have it for the week, for 2 weeks, actually, almost 2 weeks. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. So first time driving a car since the accident, and I have to tell you, it was really seriously nerve-wracking. But it's kind of alleviated me from having to ask people for rides the entire time. So it was kind of convenient. Got on the freeway. Literally, I went to the chiropractor. I drove surface straights. I don't know what I was thinking. It was one of those automatic things to come home. And I was like, it's just, get on, get off. And I got on, and I just started freaking out. And by the time I got off, it was like, same exit. I didn't even merge into traffic. I was bawling. I was bawling all the way home. I was just praying and bawling. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't do this. Freaking me out. So I think my body remembers more of the trauma from the car accident than I remember. So I'm doing emotional. I had a very emotional week, to say the least. I went to the temple and on Tuesday to do some cleaning, and had some, one exciting thing is that that my clothes were too big. They have different sizes. They make you put on scrubs, and I've been wearing the 3X size scrubs. And so for like the past 2 weeks, they've been last week and this week, they were like feeling like they're too big and falling off. And I was like, yay. So maybe next week I will give myself to be brave enough to try the 2X, because I hate that place where I feel like I'm like in between sizes, where one size is too big, but the other next size down is still too small. So, but 2 weeks, second week in a row that they've been too big. So I was like, yay. And so very excited about that. And so excited to kind of do my area, but they've assigned a new custodial person to my area. And usually the custodial people like clean the bathrooms and do their own deep cleaning stuff. And I work with the volunteers that are coming to clean, and I show them what to do. And then I do the minimal stuff the basic stuff, like taking out the trash, the little trash things, and, filling hand sanitizers and little stuff that I can do that doesn't hurt me too badly, because I'm still in a lot of pain, and I don't have not that I had a lot of energy to do cleaning before, but at least it didn't hurt me to do cleaning. I just would be really tired and worn out doing it. And now it's actually very painful. So this custodial person, instead of letting me tell the volunteers what to do, she was telling me what to do. And then I told her I couldn't do that. She's like, well, then you can do this. And I was like, I can't do that either. And she's like, well, what do you want to do then? And I said, well, I can do this. And she's like, no, that's already taken care of, dude. I'm like, I can't take out the trash, and I can't do Kleenex boxes and all that stuff. She's like, no. So she told me I could do stuff I couldn't do. So I'm like, okay, I just caved and I said, fine, I'll do one. And I tried. I really did. I tried, and I was hurting, and it was crying, and it was hurting. And then I was like, okay, I need to speak up for myself. But um, the problem is she speaks Spanish, and she speaks a little bit of English, but I don't think she was understanding what I was telling her or what I was trying to do. And she was like, well, you can do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, and then I tell her what I want to do, and she's like, you can't do that because it's already taken care of. And I was like, no, that's the only thing I can do. So I went downstairs to tell the supervisor that I was having issues and I can't do what she was asking me to do. And, misunderstanding maybe how this is supposed to work with the missionaries and the custodial people and whatever. And I wish that I could be like one of the volunteers and just do all the cleaning and whatever. And I didn't want to, but for whatever reason, I started crying. It's an old thing I used to do. I used to be so embarrassed that I had to ask for help or speak up for myself that I would just start crying. And I haven't done that in a really long time. So it was kind of an eye-opener as to how much I have not been dealing with my emotions, or how much trauma has happened from this accident that I just have not processed, because I don't like to process my emotions. I haven't been journaling and processing emotions and feelings. So I ended up crying, just started crying, and I felt really bad. And then I apologized. And then he was like, it's okay. And he took me to a different area. He's like, I'm just taking you to a different area. I was like, okay, with one of the other missionaries. And I thought, okay, because my friend was there. And I was like, oh, good, she's in this area. And no, he took me to the area where the guy missionary is. And I was like, okay, I get to be with the other guy. That's fun. So I can't I just didn't want to be crying in front of some guy and just telling him my sob story, which wasn't really a sob story. It was just me probably overreacting and being emotional and that time of the month and in a lot of pain and not able to do what I want to do and just feeling bad because I can't perform the duties. I can't do what I was asked to do. And I shouldn't feel bad about that because I was physically incapable of doing it because of my injuries, which I was also incapable of communicating to this person and feeling very put on the spot in front of volunteers and not even sure what to do. So I was just freaking out, overreacting. And then of course this guy afterwards is looking at me because he's giving me rides when my friend isn't there. And I'm like, my friend is here. And she's like, you could go with him. And I was like, I want to go with you because I'm having an emotional breakdown and I don't want to get in this guy's car and start falling. So I went with my friend and sat outside my house for half an hour and talked to her and was freaking out. And also coming along with getting the car apparently meant that I got to take Dad Shoemaker to the airport on Wednesday. So I had to drive on the freeway. And I was super freaking out about it, praying about it quite a bit, making sure I was reading my meditationals, anything for some peace. And so I went and picked him up to take him to the airport. And he's like, I'll drive. And I was like, yes, thank you. So relieved. Wished I would have tried to take some surface streets home, but surprised and grateful that I could get on the freeway and drive home. And I was okay. I didn't break down. I didn't start bawling or crying. And some of my automatic driving skills started coming back. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And I was like, all right, this is better. I'm okay. So I was feeling a little bit more confident in driving and just grateful, feeling very, very grateful and very blessed. Still not feeling super comfortable. I mean, feeling a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident, but also kind of paranoid because I'm like, I don't want to get in another accident, especially when I'm driving somebody else's car that's not my car. So I was just like, probably praying the entire time that I was driving just because I was freaking out about it. But it was nice to have a car for the week. It was nice. And then I actually went to my 12-step meeting on Sunday and got to talk to some people. And someone there came up to me and said that I'm so much better. She's like, I don't mean to compare or say anything mean, but she's like, that marriage was not good for you and you are so much better since your divorce. And I was like, okay, I've been so miserable. But I think what she was trying to say, if I can remember correctly, which I'm not sure how well I remember some things anymore, but anyway, she was saying that I was just like blossoming, like more of me is shining through and coming out, and that I'm this amazing, wonderful person. And she's so happy to see that in me. And she hadn't seen that, since my marriage. So it was nice to see that. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, And yeah, I think I lost a lot of that, like when I got married, and then I lost even more of that when I got divorced. And I just didn't want to find myself again like I was some scary, horrible person that nobody wants to be with, because my ex-husband didn't want to be with me. So there wasn't anything about me to be wanted. So it's just nice to be reminded that I am loved. And it's so nice to have someone say that they love seeing me shining through, because I'm an amazing person and it's great to see me. And I was like, oh, sorry, my nose itches. So I just thought that was really sweet of her to say that. And I just feel very, very blessed, very grateful for that. So I guess I did do a little bit of socializing in that aspect, because I did have my Brazilian friend take me to my dad's to get my car, because she was going to take me to my doctor's appointment. I'm like, I'm going to get my dad, get the car, and then I could take myself to my doctor's appointment, and then I don't have to worry about it. So that was kind of nice to not have to worry about that. So been kind of nice to have a car. It will be sad to give it back, because I get to go back to asking for people for rides until I'm ready to buy a car again, which I'm so not ready to do. And like I said, still freaking out about the whole having to drive thing, but doing okay. Just had emotional breakdowns this week. So lots of emotional things. I can't say that I'm necessarily processing by making videos or journaling, which would be a whole lot better for me to be doing. Not really an excuse to not do those things, but I have read my scriptures and meditationals a few times this week, which is a spiritual thing. And the temple thing is usually, I would consider a social spiritual thing. And it was a very emotional thing this time around. But it was nice to visit with my temple friend that gave me a ride home. So I was like, okay, I'm okay. So, disappointed the guy, because I didn't get a ride home with him, which I usually do when she's not there. And it was kind of odd, because he didn't say anything. I didn't even ask him for a ride. So usually when I don't ask him for a ride, but he's like walking, and then he just kind of stops and looks at me like, are you coming? And I'm like, wasn't planning to. Like, this wasn't an agreed upon arrangement. Didn't ask for the ride. So I was like, yeah, I will. So anyway, it was kind of random. Don't know why he was doing that, sort of a thing. But I didn't want to go with him and tell him why I had an emotional breakdown, or why I ended up in his area cleaning for the night, or any of those other things. So anyway, that was kind of a crazy week for me. Very crazy emotional week for me. So I'm just not super happy about that. So I guess that kind of was a little bit with my social thing. And I did remember something from, this goes into other things, probably emotional things as well. A lot of emotional things this past week. So last week, I forgot to mention in my video that there was a social event for the neighborhood. They had like some neighborhood block party that they were inviting everybody to. And it was also kind of a farewell to some people that were in the neighborhood that are moving away. And they're people that I know. I'm not like close to them, but I know them. And I knew about the party, and I knew where it was, and I knew I could walk there, and I knew it'd be okay. And I just was totally freaking out about it. And I just really had a hard time just going to that. And because I don't do well with big crowds, large crowds of people. I really struggle with that. So I just didn't, like, I wanted to go, and I kept telling myself I should go, and I kept intentionally finding other things to do, because I just didn't really want to go. Like, I felt like I should be obligated to go, because it was a goodbye thing for some people in the neighborhood, and it would be nice to go and say goodbye. But I always feel weird at social events when there's lots of people and it's just mingling. And I was like, I always find like one person to talk to or say hi to, but then they start mingling with other people, and then I just kind of feel weird. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And if nobody comes over to talk to me, then I just kind of, I think the only time I actually liked being around a group of people like all crowded like that was when it was at my wedding. And yeah, I know I'm divorced now, but I still remember the wedding because I was the bride and everybody wants to talk to the bride. So everybody came over and said hi to me. And even though it was a 2-second hi, introduction, whatever, and then somebody else was there to say hi after that. So I wasn't bored. I didn't get stuck in conversations I didn't want to be stuck in, which was fantastic. And I didn't feel like awkward and out of place because it was for me. It was fantastic. I wish like birthday parties and other things were like that. But most of the time when I go to big parties or other things, I just always feel out of place and I just don't know how to respond. And everybody always seems to be chatting and doing this, that, or the other. So I'm just kind of, fly on the wall, wallflower, whatever you want to call it, just not part of it. So going to big social things like that, and it was like, bring your own chair, bring a snack to share. And I just didn't feel like doing any of that. So I didn't go, even though it would have been nice to go. So more random things. So there was an event. There was General Conference this weekend. And I love General Conference. I used to listen to it all the time when I was a truck driver. I had it like downloaded on my MP3 player. And so every time there'd be a new session come out, I would download it and I would just listen to it while I was driving. It was fantastic. But then I went to... But I don't know, since my divorce, since my accident, I haven't been, like, my divorce, I kind of stopped going to church. I kind of stopped watching conference. I just really struggled with everything. I just let go of everything is what it is. And that included all of my spiritual things and stuff like that. So this time I decided to try. I did sleep in on Saturday and then I got up and was having issues with my technology. Finally got it to work. Figured out how to get it to work, I should say. Because I wanted to watch conference and it was in the middle of it and they live streamed it and I was having hard times figuring out how to get it to rewind. I figured it out eventually. I ended up watching like 1 hour and then I borrowed a stepladder from my vision board friend so that I could change my air filter, but then I had to go to the store and buy an air filter because I needed to do that. And then it was time for the women's conference, which we haven't had a women's session in a long time. So I was really excited about that. And they had it at the Stake Center. And not that I'm a very social person, we've just discussed this, but I decided it would be nice to be around people and it would be a good way to get myself to watch the entire session of conference. So I went. It's only like an hour and a half, but I went by myself. I sat on a bench. Other people came and sat by me, but not people I knew. So it was kind of just felt like I was by myself, but I was okay. I brought some water. I brought something to write with. I took notes, and then they had cookies or something afterwards. So I went into the gym where they had it to just kind of see, and I was like, you know what? I didn't stay and talk to anybody, and I didn't eat any of the cookies because I can't. It's not part of the food that I'm doing. So I just kind of left, like, not super social, but at least I was in a building watching something spiritual, which was good, and I was around other people. So still, but haven't been really good at like sending messages and checking in with people and things like that for the week. So it's been kind of, like I said, just struggling emotionally, having an emotionally rough week. But kind of realized on Sunday, I tried to watch conference and I watched like an hour and then I was like falling asleep and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. And I had kind of this inspiration, revelation sort of a thing. And it just made me feel a little bit better. I felt bad because I was just praying and I was telling my father, I'm like, look, I love conference and I used to watch like all the sessions and would look forward to it and watch the recorded stuff. And now I struggle and it's just not fair. and I had this thoughts and this realization that, I used to do all of those things and I haven't done them for so long that my spiritual muscles as well as my physical muscles have atrophied. And I'm basically, I guess, spiritually overweight or underfed. I'm not really sure which way you want to look at it, but out of shape, definitely out of shape. And doing spiritual things is fantastic, but doing a lot of spiritual things can actually be very physically exhausting when you're not used to it or prepared for it. And that's super spiritual and intense watching conference. It's amazing, but it's also can be very, for me, sometimes can be very overwhelming. I mean, all the talks are amazing and they bring so much peace and joy and all those things, but it's still it's a lot of information. And I just feel like I'm not processing all of it. And it's so much that I just am struggling to take it all in. And I realize it's the same as, eating healthy and eating on a regular basis because I'm not used to that, and exercising, I'm not used to that. And So sadly, conference and spiritual things have become the same way. So I have to build myself back up to that. But it gave me a sense of hope that I can build myself up to that, and a sense of peace. It also gave me a place to be compassionate and loving towards myself, that I'm not, maybe not where I want to be, but that I'm making efforts toward it. I'm doing these little exercises, and hopefully at some point I will get to be there again, and it will be amazing. And I think I will appreciate it all the more for being there. And hopefully I won't ever let those muscles, those spiritual muscles, atrophy again, because it's just not fun. It's not a fun place to be out of that, to not have the energy to do that, to enjoy that, to not do the things that I love, and to realize that being in my depression, and my friends were right, I gave power to my ex and other people by giving up all the things that I love to try to make other people happy, and then making myself miserable because because the addicts and my ex and toxic people in my life didn't want me, didn't appreciate me. And then because I couldn't have their love and affection, no matter what I did or who I was, I figured that I wasn't good enough for myself or for anybody else, which is a horrible way of looking at life and thinking things and viewing things, and realizing that I have so much more value. There's so much more in me. Like my friend, my Al-Anon meeting, that was telling me how she just loves seeing me shine through and come out, and to realize that I am coming out and I am discovering things about myself and loving myself, and recognizing that I just need to do more things that make me happy, instead of giving up all those things that made me happy to try to make someone else happy, and it didn't work. So I've just made myself miserable by trying to be someone or something I'm not, and hiding from myself more than hiding from anyone else. So I need to stop hiding from myself, which is easier said than done, because I've spent a lifetime not getting to know myself. So I'm also hoping that in this process of working on myself and doing these videos, I get to know myself better. I get to love myself better, and I get to be happy and grateful for who I am and what gifts I have to offer, and maybe start using them a little bit more. So I think spiritually this week was really good for me, in regards that I did read my scriptures and meditations a few times this week. I did watch a little bit of conference, not all of it, like I said, an hour for Saturday morning session, an hour for Sunday afternoon session, and the hour and a half for the women's session. So still quite a bit to watch, but I am grateful that I could take it in chunks and baby steps, and I am grateful for what I did watch and for the inspiration that I did get. So spiritual and emotional taken care of for this week. Social, I think, kind of in there a little bit. Just kind of all around. Physically, slowly starting to get better. It was nice to go see the chiropractor 3 times this week, because I had a car, so I could do it instead of depending on rides. So that was nice. Saw the doctor. They still didn't get the information from the hospital, and I didn't call the hospital to have them send it over. So apparently I have to do that, because they can't seem to get it themselves, even though I keep signing the forms. I signed another form for them to request the records. But I should probably call and follow up this time, so that they'll actually have them the next time. So that would be a good thing to do. And then physically, I did actually exercise on Friday. I was very proud of myself, because I kind of felt like I was well enough and I could do this. So I tried and just did my little wall push-ups and other things. And my doctor did order physical therapy, so I'm just waiting to hear back on that. Anyway, they're supposed to call me and tell me when I'm supposed to come in and do something, and I don't know. I think I'm getting ahead of myself on that. So yeah, and I did lose a few pounds, so I'm happy for that. Like down like 2 pounds or whatever. So yay. It's nice to see the weight go down. Or maybe it was 3 pounds. I don't know. I'd have to look at my thing. But that's happy. So spiritual, physical, mentally, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's usually just been playing my games and avoiding my life and watching too much TV. So not a whole lot there financially. I think I may have glanced at my finances a few times. Haven't really done anything else. It was the first of the month, so I did go to the bank and get money to pay my rent, and my landlord was so excited I paid him all of my rent. And I was like, well, it's the first of the month and I have the money. I'm not just going to go out and hand him all the money for the next 2 or 3 months. I'm still waiting to just pay bills on a regular basis, just when they come up due, not paying ahead or anything, just trying to hold on to my money as long as possible, stretch it as far as it will go, because I know at some point I have to get another job and I have to do all of that other stuff. And right now it's just, like I said, I just feel very emotionally, I think, overwhelmed with everything and just struggling, having a very emotional week actually. So still physically in pain and doing things, but still trying. Like I said, happy to finally start exercising a little bit, excited about that. Progress, baby steps. So that's what I have for this week. I am grateful for the moments that I had some happiness, some joy, some opportunities to try some things, and some, triggers, traumas. Cried a few times this week, which I probably needed to more than I wanted to. So there we go. That's all I have for this week. If you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they like it too. And I hope you have a great week full of gratitude and maybe find some ways to be happy and healthy too.